can go on to win do so many different things going forward.
See, you're right. It's every player brings something to the table, right? But there are only 11 of them. In spite of that, there are some superstars in a team always. Has that superstar culture lessened, or do you lessen it in the dressing room that everybody should not bring that superstar, shoulder in their shoulder? कि हाँ मैं superstar हूँ, वो नहीं लाना चाहिए.
देखिए मैं आपको बताऊँ, the difference between you and me is what you like creating superstars. My job is to create super team. That's the difference. That's a simple difference, and that difference will always remain. Media wants to create superstars, but my job as a head coach is to create a super team. And that's the only way I look at my profession, because my job is to be absolutely fair, even, and treat everyone exactly equally, because those 15 people in that dressing room are absolutely equal to me. I don't look at the amount of runs they've got. I don't look at the amount of social media following they have. I don't look at what TRP they bring to the people or to the broadcaster. I only look at that what they bring to the team and what they bring to the country. And that is why I feel that is my job, is to create a super team. And hopefully, till I finish my tenure, I will be able to create a super team.
Okay, talking about your tenure, I want to know who asked you to become the coach who is the first person who called you up and said, become a coach?
Yeah, that's a good story. In fact, I remember we were playing an IPL game in Mumbai, KKR versus Mumbai Indians, and we were staying at St. Regis, and it was Jaibai who called me. Actually, he called me.
Jaisha.
Yeah. He actually called me early in the morning. He said that I have to give you this offer and you can't say no to me. I said, what? He said, you have to be the head coach. And at that time, honestly, I wasn't even ready. It was a massive surprise, because for me, I think being the head coach of the Indian team is an honor. It's a privilege, because not many people get that opportunity to again go back in that dressing room and wear that India jersey again and do something special for the country. Tell me, how many ex-cricketers get that? Very few. And then he told me you can't say no. And then obviously I spoke to family, I spoke to Natasha, but hats off to him. I have to thank him. I thanked him even during the press conference that I very well realized this, that when I was offered this job, that I had no experience of being a head coach, because I've never been a head coach of any team or any franchise. I was always the mentor, but trusting me with that job and that high pressure job and that high profile job. So hopefully till now, I think I'm able to live up to his expectations, and I can't thank him enough, because anytime you get this opportunity to do something special for the country, and by him, and most importantly, I think I remember I've gone through a lot of low moments in my tenure as well, which was always expected, because whether it was getting beaten by New Zealand at home or getting beaten by South Africa at home, which I normally don't forget, and I don't think it will be difficult for me to forget. Not many people actually called me after that. I remember the only time someone called me was Jaisha, because I remember when we lost a game against New Zealand at Mumbai, I was going back to the airport and I got a call from him, and obviously he told me to stay strong. He told me that he's there with me during that hour, and then even after South Africa, he was the one who called me. I was at the airport and I was actually very low and down. And अच्छे time में you don't remember people when your things are going good, but when you're going through a tough phase, at that time, if someone calls you and supports you at that time, I think that is something that I will always appreciate, even when I won't be the head coach of the team.
Someday I want to write your biography. Hopefully, the ups and downs in your career, in your life, has been amazing. It's a life that you've led, which is like stupendous. The courage of conviction that you have, in spite of some of the knocks that you got in life. Amazing.
But I think I can't complain, because God has given me so much, which I never thought that ultimately I deserve. But again, I think God has been very kind.
Jaisha, as an administrator, what would you say what is his contribution?
Look, he had a massive contribution, not because we're talking about it right now, but the fact is, agar aap dekho, when he was the secretary, the way he's transformed women's cricket in India, you got to give it to the man. You have to give it to the man कि आप women cricketers की salaries उठा के देख लीजिए, उनके contracts उठा के देख लीजिए, the transition that has happened in women's cricket, आप WPL उठा के देख लीजिए. In fact, अगर आप men's cricket की भी बात करो, men's cricket में भी जितनी facilities अब players को मिलती हैं, जैसे infrastructure बदला है, I think you have to give it to Jaisha for bringing that transformation in women's cricket. I think that man deserves so much of credit. And second most important thing, now being the ICC chairman, I think including cricket and Olympics is a massive step. So I think he does deserve a lot of credit for what he's done as an administrator. And more importantly, I think his heart is in the right place, because when he was the secretary with BCCI, जब मेरे को ये job offer हुई थी, I worked very closely with him. And I remember how passionate he was for Indian cricket and how much he wanted Indian cricket to do well. And you could see from his reactions as well. You could see it, because आप इंसान के reactions छुपा नहीं सकते. When Indian cricket does well, I think he's probably one of the happiest guys going around.
Do you have the complete freedom when you are in the dressing room, or are there people who pull strings?
Not at all. I think I'm very fortunate. Not at all in the last 1.5, 2 years, and I think that is something that is fantastic to have, because many times I think you don't get the freedom. But I think when I joined as the head coach, Jaibai was the secretary, and I think the best thing that he did was that he he had let me run the entire show. I don't think so there was any interference from him, which again, because if you trust someone, then you trust someone, and he's trusted me with this job. And till now, I think I'm not going to say power because I had the opportunity of calling the shots.
You know, I don't want to take names, but over the years, and I've been watching cricket for decades, but there have been, and interviewed many cricketers, I've been fortunate enough, but there have been some cricketers who were so powerful simply because they played for so many years, they were part of winning teams. They did have an impact on selection of players. There used to be the Bombay team, there was the Bombay League, there were the Delhi guys who used to decide and things like that. How much of freedom do selectors have these days? Do coaches have these days in saying, you know, that this guy has promise, don't take him away just because he's having a bad patch?
See, I'll tell you one thing. I think I'm not going to sit here and say that, okay, selectors have more power or the coach has more power. I think we all are in it together. That is something that is very, very important. Ultimately, whether it's the chairman selector, whether it's the selector, whether it's the head coach, the point is that Indian cricket needs to do well. And it is sometimes always good to have difference of opinion. But when you finish that difference of opinion, when you come on the same page, that things should be only in the best interest of cricket. And I'm very fortunate that we had someone like Ajit Agarkar who's worked so honestly since he's there as a chairman selector. And most importantly, I think BCCI has given the selectors and the head coach the complete freedom to call the shots and take the right decisions, which is in right interest for Indian cricket.
Okay, you've spoken often about nationalism. Do you think that Indian cricket sometimes carries the weight of national identity too strong? Like when you're playing against Pakistan or when you're playing against powerful teams, that India element and that thing is a little too much?
I think which is good. I think nationalism, see, the point is that you can't hide away from this reality that as an Indian team, you represent 140 crore Indians. As simple as it can get. And when you stand for the national anthem, you should feel something about the country because it's an opportunity to do something for the country, which not many people do get that opportunity.
But does it take away from the game as that it's a sport, it's a game? But sometimes it becomes like, oh my God, it is like India haar gayi. You know, it's that whole thing. It's not India haar gayi, Indian ki team haari hai thodi si.
But see, that's why I say cricket in India is a religion, and people expect so much out of the players. That's why I say that players should be allowed to fail. Players should be allowed to make bad decisions. But again, I think that is the expectations which people have from the Indian team, and which again is a good thing because you only expect from people who can deliver. And how well these guys have delivered, whether it was Champions Trophy, whether it is now the T20 World Cup, आप उन लोगों से expect नहीं करते जिनको आपको पता है कि they will not be able to deliver. And when the expectation is there, which again is great thing for Indian cricket, and I think that expectations stay, but that criticism should come down a little bit.
Because, outside criticism is different. You've also called out at times if there were mistakes made. You've not shied away from it and said, हाँ ये गलती है, इसको सुधारना है. You've not shied away. Do you think that you paid the price for being extremely honest?
Yeah, but who doesn't make mistakes? Tell me one human being in this world who has not made mistakes.
You don't cover up.
Yeah, but I don't need to cover up. Why should I cover up? Because ultimately, as I said, that I am not accountable to what people say on social media. I am accountable to my players. I am accountable to a common, normal fan जो ना views, ना TRPs, ना जिसके vested interest in Indian cricket के साथ. I am only accountable to them. And if I am accountable to them, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say that yes, I have made a mistake. And everyone should be allowed to make mistakes. I have made mistakes. I might make mistakes in future as well. I'm not going to say that I will not make mistakes. Yeah, I will make mistakes. Bad decision with right intention is acceptable. Wrong decision with wrong intention is not acceptable. I will make wrong decisions. I will make right decisions. It's a sport. कि ऐसा नहीं है कि आप मुझे एक आदमी बताओ जिसने स्पोर्ट में सारे decisions ठीक लिए होंगे. And in future also there are certain decisions which will go the other way, but the intention will never be compromised.
So when you are in doubt, Gautam, whom do you go to? Like
to my instinct. To my instinct.
Okay.
That is all I go back to. I think my instinct is what I trust the most. I don't look at data. I don't look at any other thing. If my instinct says, and if I see myself and say that yes, this is the right call for the team, and I will back it to the hill. If it doesn't work, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say yes, it didn't work.
But is that maturity? I mean, maybe there are people who are senior mentors. उनके पास जाना नहीं?
See, everyone has different ways of looking at things. But मेरा idea with me being the head coach now, my vision for the team, it could be completely different to someone who's run the show before me or someone who will run the show after me. About, for example, अगर आप किसी organization के head हो, तो that the vision that you carry is your vision. जब आपके पास someone else will take over, then he will have his own vision. So right now, the vision that I have, how I want the team to run, how I want the team to play, how I want the team should carry themselves off the field, it is my vision. मेरे tenure के बाद जो भी आएगा, that is his vision. He doesn't need to consult me, or I don't need to tell him. If someone consults me, good enough. If someone doesn't, that's his wish. But I feel that for me, I think there are times if I want, because there are people like VVS Lakshman, there are people like Ajit Agarkar, they are there. So if I feel that there is anything I need to share or talk about, there are people who I can definitely discuss cricket with.
Yeah. Ashwin once said that Gautam Gambhir is one of the most misunderstood cricketers in India. A great team man, a sharp reader of the game, and completely selfless. Would you also categorize yourself if you were watching from outside?
ये भी मीडिया की देन है और किसी की देन नहीं है ये जो
मिसअंडरस्टैंड वाली बात.
क्योंकि हर मूवी में एक हीरो और एक विलन होता है तो किसी को तो आपको विलन बनाना ही है. तो why not me?
Yeah.
Because the reality is कि आपने विलन इसलिए बनाया क्योंकि जो इंसान सिर्फ टीम स्पोर्ट की बात करता है, टीम की बात करता है, और जो सिर्फ ये कहता है कि टीम इज बिगर देन एन इंडिविजुअल, अगर आप उसको विलन बनाना चाहते हो, सो बी इट. बट द थिंग इज, आई एम नॉट गोना गो आउट देयर एंड एवर डिफेंड माई सेल्फ,
Yeah.
बिकॉज माई ऑनेस्टी विल वन डे डिफेंड मी. बट आई एम नॉट गोना गो एंड से कि मैंने ये ठीक किया, मैंने वो गलत किया. दैट इज नॉट मी. द फैक्ट इज दैट, और ये वो लोग बोलते हैं जिन्होंने कभी, जो मेरे को जानते भी नहीं, और कई बार ये वो लोग भी बोलते हैं जो मेरे को जानते हैं. तो दैट इज समथिंग विच इज नॉट राइट. जो लोग मुझे जानते हैं वो खराब है कि आप मुझे जानते हो, आप मुझसे मिले हो, आपको पता है कि मैं कैसा इंसान हूँ, सिर्फ क्योंकि आपको अपने व्यूज चाहिए, क्योंकि सिर्फ आपको क्लिक्स चाहिए, व्हाटएवर, तो यू वांट टू टॉक नेगेटिव. दैट, एंड अब मिसअंडरस्टूड हूँ नहीं मिसअंडरस्टूड, उसमें आई कांट टॉक अबाउट इट. हाँ, एक चीज़ बोल सकता हूँ कि हाँ, एक्सट्रीमली ऑनेस्ट हूँ.